YouTube, what's up? Back again for another daily fishing video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Guys, today we're going to dive into a topic that I wish I'd have seen when I was a kid, and that's how to dress properly for cold conditions. You know, when I was a kid, I think I used to wear like 10 layers of clothes. I used to look like that kid from the Christmas Story.
What is it?
I can't put my arms out!
And I would have like so many things. I'd be like wobbling around and stuff. As I got older, I learned a lot more about how to layer and how to wear the proper clothing to make that day on the water extremely enjoyable. You know, I just fished a tournament over the weekend and it was blistering cold. And you know what? I stayed fairly comfortable, stayed fairly warm. And hopefully these tricks will help you the next time you're on the water to stay warm. But hey, real fast though, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, do so. It's really easy. It's the bottom right hand corner. Just hit that sub button. It will really help me out. And comment below, what do you wear? What is your number one trick for staying warm in the wintertime? And I know some of you are going to say, I'm just going to stay home because I don't want to get cold. And I can't say I blame you a little bit because I really am one of those guys that I hate the cold, big time. So let's dive on into this. I'm going to show you a few of my things that I do to stay warm this time of year. So one of the very first things I do is get a good base layer. You know, when I was a kid, I would just go to Walmart, get some long johns, and put them on and freeze my butt off. And over the years, I've learned that that is one of the worst things you can ever do, especially when you're dealing with not only cold, but wind. And being on the lake, it just something about it, it's just going to be a little bit colder than you are if you're just walking outside your house. So when I learned about good base layers was when I found out about the Under Armour Cold Gear. This particular one that I have is the Under Armour Cold Gear 3.0. I bought this like 6 years ago. But it absolutely changed the way that I dressed for tournament fishing and just bundling in general. You know, like it made me warmer, just made my bones warmer. Like I didn't have to layer that extra 3 or 4 layers because of this, most definitely. I got the tops and bottoms, and it's true to size, or at least it was for me. I have mediums. You want it skin tight though. That's one of the most important aspects of the base layer is to have it skin tight. This is the 3.0 is the heaviest duty they made at the time. I think 2.0 is the heaviest they make now. But I can't stress it enough. Spend the extra money and get a good base layer. It will change the way you dress for fishing. I promise you. Like, it will make your life way better. Now, the one thing that I'm going to get ripped apart in the comments is my socks. I don't wear wool socks. I just absolutely refuse to wear them. I think they get in my way. And the other thing is they itch really bad and they make your feet sweat because they are really warm. 100%, they're super warm. But you don't want your feet to be too warm when you're standing up all the time. It's one thing if you're sitting in a deer blind and your feet are up and you're not walking around. It will keep your feet warm in that situation. But when you're moving, you're walking around the deck and doing all of that stuff, your feet are going to sweat a lot. And therefore, they're going to get colder faster. So what I do is I just double up ankle socks. I wear 2 pair of ankle socks, and depending on how cold it is, I'll wear tennis shoes if it is like 35 and above, and if it's below that, I wear some muck boots, some knee-high muck boots. And quite honestly, my feet never get cold in those muck boots, and it's great for conditions like rain, snow, all that kind of stuff. But that is my base layer. Base layers to me are the most important aspect of this entire thing, is to have a good base layer, because if you do, you will stay warmer. Now, when you go to the next layer is kind of like whatever. I just wear a pair of pants. You want them to be semi-loose fitting. You don't want them to be really tight. You want there to be a little air gap between your long johns and the pair of pants. So that's an extremely important aspect. And then just regular shirt over the top. You know, nothing crazy, just like a regular, I just wear a dry fit shirt over it. I don't think it really matters. It's more so that if you strip down to where you're wearing your pants and your shirt, you can go to weigh in, you can do those kind of things, and you're not going to be overly hot or cold because you still have your long johns underneath. So you'll stay warm even in like the 40s and 50s just wearing this just like this. Now the next layer is this particular pair of pants I only wear if it's going to stay in the single digits to the teens to the 20s all day long. So like from the start of the day, so if I start fishing and it's 10 degrees outside and the warmest it's going to get is 20 degrees, I absolutely put these on next. These are a Polar Tech Fleece pant, this 1000% will keep you the warmest in the world. The problem is if you wear it when it's in the 30s and it warms up to the 50s, you're going to sweat your butt off, and I promise you will. So if it's in the teens, single digits, wear the fleece line above your pants, because let's be honest, you're not going to strip down to your t-shirt and your pants when it's 20 degrees outside at weigh-in. It's just not going to happen. So wear these only in single digits to really low temperatures. And quite frankly, some of you are going to be like, man, if it's that cold, I'm not going fishing anyway. But just for the sake of the video, for you tournament guys, especially you young guys, I mean, this is for you young guys out there. Dressing properly will save you day in and day out and make that trip so much better. So we get past that. Then I go, and this is important to me, it might not be for some, but is to wear a sweatshirt. A sweatshirt next with a hood. And make sure the hood stays out whenever you put your jacket on. So the hood is going to work in two ways. So it's going to help to keep your head warm. You can put the hood over your head. It's going to make life way easier in that aspect. And it's giving you an extra layer, but not a too thick a layer up top. So this is always on me. A sweatshirt is always the next layer above my t-shirt. It just always is. Now, once you get past the sweatshirt layer, as you can tell, I'm working more upper body than I am lower body. For me, my lower body stays fairly warm, just like the way it is. Now, if it is, let's just say it's one of those days where it's 35, warms up to 45, 50, I'm going to go with a puffer vest. This is just one Strike King sent me, but you can get puffer vest all over the place. Now, this isn't a look that I go for when I just go out and like go to dinner or something like that. That's just not me. I don't wear vests then. But for the sake of fishing, the reason a vest is so good, especially one of these puffer style vests, is it's going to keep the heat in, but it's going to give your arms even more mobility. So the more things you put on your arms, the more you're stiff, like the kid from the Christmas Story. So you need to have that mobility in your arms. This puffer is going to allow you to have that mobility in your arms and make life way easier. Now, once it gets below there, you know, like where you're dealing with freezing temperatures all day long, I'm going for a full jacket. I'm going a full puffer jacket, and this is going to keep your arms warm, your inner body warm, everything like that. A lot of times, though, especially when I'm wearing this, I'm going to take my jacket off when I get to my fishing area, unless it's raining or snowing, and then I'll leave my big jacket on. But by having that little jacket, or that puffer jacket on, I'm going to stay warm. And if I do take my big jacket off, it will cut the wind. And that is what we're getting into next, is the outer layer. The layer that's going to cut all the wind for you and make your life better. And that is just a big suit. There's a bunch of different suits I've worn over the years. I've worn Gill, I've worn Sims, I've worn the Bass Pro 100 mile an hour suits, the Cabela's suits, the Striker suits. I've worn all of them. The last few years, I've just worn a Gill suit. I'm very comfortable in my Gill suit. I think when I was sponsored by Costa, I actually got this one. So I've had this one a few years because I hadn't been sponsored by Costa for a few. But it's just a traditional jacket. And like I said, if it's fairly good conditions and I'm wearing my big jacket, I'll take this off when I'm fishing, because I mean, it's a pretty thick jacket. It's not like super insulated, but it's insulated enough that you're going to stay warm out there on the water. Now, when it comes to the lower part of your outerwear, there's two frames of thought here. You can either wear big bibs like I have here, or you can wear pants. If it was me and I was giving you a recommendation, I would say wear the bibs. But the bibs have a problem, and they always will, and that is they pull down on your shoulders. So they make your shoulders hurt throughout the day. The longer you wear your bibs and you wear all the clothes over the top of them, the more these are going to drag down on your shoulders. Now, granted, some of you can be like, well, you just put pants on and wear some outer pants. And that works, absolutely. You got to have something that is made of this material, though, that really strong material that's going to cut the wind. And they make those type of pants. But the problem is, and something that I've run into, is the bibs will actually keep your midsection even warmer. So if you wear pants, air is going to get between the pants and the top. it will. You can pretend like it won't, but when you're running down the lake, if you're wearing pants and a jacket, it will get between there. With the bibs, it comes up so far that it actually protects that midsection. And to me, I would rather take the midsection protection than letting air in, because I promise you guys, if you get cold out there, all it takes is you get cold one time and it's game over for you. You're going to freeze, you're not going to have fun. And to me, that's the most important aspect of it, is to have fun. Now, when it comes to as far as like gloves and things like that, honestly, I've learned over the years to fish in gloves. I've gotten good at fishing in gloves, and I'm very confident fishing in gloves. Now, you're going to have guys that say, I'm going to fish with these, the ones that have no fingers in them, that are like either mitten style or whatever, you know, like these right here. So I have access to all my fingers. These are Simms gloves. I think these are my wife's gloves. The problem with this is when you're fishing, even like this, your fingertips are exposed. And to me, that still gets me too cold, and I don't like it. So what I've learned over the years of fishing in really cold conditions is I found these really thin Under Armour gloves. And these are probably the most comfortable but greatest fishing gloves that I've ever found. They're really, really thin. I mean, they're like skin tight thin. They still allow me to cast as good as I want to cast and fish as good as I want to fish. But granted, when you're running down the lake, air gets in because these are really thin. But when you're fishing, they're fantastic. So what I've learned is I get a thicker glove. And what I can do is actually put the thicker glove over the top of the smaller glove. You got to typically buy one size larger, so I go to a large. And I will put these on when I'm running down the lake. When I'm stopping running down the lake, I take them off and I still have my base layer glove, and life is good. I can make my casts, I can fish all day. Typically, I carry about 2 to 3 pair of these in my boat during the day, especially in those really, really cold days, those like 10 to 20 degree days. Because once you get them wet, it's done. I know guys that put like rubber gloves underneath, like latex gloves underneath these kind of gloves to keep their hands warm and to keep them dry, which dry is a really important aspect. But for me, it's just easier to change my gloves and I don't have that latex feel on me. Another important thing to have with you is hot hands. Something that you can put in your pocket, keep your hands warm. It will absolutely save your bacon. And you just, every once in a while, you just need to put your hands in your pocket, especially if you don't have gloves on. Warm your hands up for a few minutes. The hot hands will absolutely make that better. Another thing that I wear is a beanie. To me, a beanie is a beanie. A face guard is extremely important too. You know, like we wear these buffs, but they actually make a balaclava, I think is the name, the way you say it. Under Armour makes one. A lot of people make them. But it's basically a ski mask, but it's a really thick but skin tight ski mask. I wear those all day long. It will not bother me. It keeps my neck warm, especially if I do pull it down, and it keeps my face warm. Another really important aspect of dressing for the conditions. But last but not least, absolutely not least, is wearing the right life jacket. So when I'm out there on the water, typical year, like I'm going down to Florida the end of this week, and I'm gonna have my little suspender vest on. I mean, nothing crazy, the auto inflate type vest. But when it's cold outside, I 1000% go to a full body life jacket, and this is for a couple of reasons. So, first reason, when I'm running down the lake, it's gonna block the wind even more. So I'm going to be running, and it's going to protect me from the wind, protect me from the conditions. It's so thick that will protect your upper body when you're running. To me, there's no replacement for that. It will keep you warmer by wearing this life jacket. Secondly, if you happen to fall in the lake, you don't have to depend on the auto inflate to work. This thing's going to float, no questions asked, and once again, it's going to keep you warmer if you fall in. That auto inflate is not going to keep you warmer. This is at least going to give you a little bit more insulation, even if it's just that much. But it's still going to give you more insulation if you fall in. And to me, that is, I mean, if it gives me 5 extra minutes to figure out a way to get out of the water, it's worth it. So Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope you learned how to stay a little bit warmer the next time you're on those cold condition days. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section below. I know this video can help some of you, so if you can, share it out to some of your friends. It will help them stay warm the next time in the water. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.